Hello, I'm Bernard Keevy. Question is, how soon should you expect to see positive results, i.e. a positive return on your investment, if you work with a business coach? So I just want to show you here how you can actually get quick results. Now, what I have up here is called a break-even chart. And this represents how any business's profits work. So this blue line here is what's called fixed costs. So up here we're showing how many pounds or dollars a month you're spending. These are your fixed costs, which basically means they're the same no matter how much volume of output you produce. This green line here, these are called variable costs. So what that means is that every time you produce something, you incur extra costs. Materials, components, maybe license fees, maybe contract labour, patent, whatever. There's direct costs, materials that go up in line with your production. So the two costs together, the green line and the blue line, they add up to this thing here, the black line, which is called total costs. Now, your sales revenue here, which is the red line, starts at £0 when you're not selling anything. And as you sell more volume, the sales goes up in line with your output. So the sales line will go up as a proportional straight line as you produce and sell more. And eventually what happens is your sales revenue overcomes your total costs and you start to make a profit. So this bit here, this area here, that means that your sales exceed your costs and you're into profit. And where they cross over, that's called your break-even point. And what that's effectively saying is that if you sell a smaller amount than that, effectively what's happening is you haven't yet covered your fixed costs. So when the lines cross, that's when you start to make a profit. So I've drawn up an example here just to show you how quickly you can actually get quite dramatic results. So here we have fixed costs of 100,000. So that line would be £100,000. We're saying that every time we produce something, it costs us an extra £10 an item to make it. So that could be materials, components, etc., maybe direct labour. And we're selling it for £15. So if you work the numbers out, what you would find is that we need to sell 20,000 of these things along here in a year to break even and start to make a profit. And what we're currently making is 30,000. So we're actually over our break-even point. So we're over here somewhere. And we're making a profit because our total revenue is higher than our total costs. And the profit we're actually making, again, if we work the numbers out, would come to £50,000 a year, or dollars or euros or whatever, right? So what we're saying now is if we could just make a 5% improvement in our costs, so reduce our costs by 5%, and if we could increase our average price that we get on everything we sell by 5%, and if we could sell an extra 5% by volume, then the numbers look totally different, because what happens is our fixed costs are now 95,000 instead of 100,000, and our variable costs are £9.50 instead of £10. So they're only slight improvements, slight reductions. Our sales price is now £15.75, which doesn't necessarily mean we've put our prices up, by the way, because there are other ways to get our average price per transaction up quite easily without even putting up our headline price. And if we work the numbers out, we would find now that instead of having to sell 20,000 to break even, we'd only need to sell 15,200 units to break even. Now we've increased our volume, again, quite easy to do this, reactivating past customers perhaps, and just having better follow-up generally in terms of converting leads, etc. But we've got our volume up by a mere 5% from 30,000 to 31,500. And by making those very small improvements, if we actually work out our bottom line profit in this instance, it's more than doubled. So 4 lots of 5% improvements have more than doubled our profit. Now, as part of my team, I have a specialist who basically looks at companies' costs and looks at all the expenditure and will look to find significant savings. So generally 5% would be very, very achievable, you would think, for most businesses. And there are plenty of easy to implement strategies to increase your average price by 5% and to increase your converted leads and therefore volume by more than 5%. So you can see here that you should be able to expect very quick returns when someone works with you to show you what needs to be done and then to hold you accountable for doing it. And it's obviously the doing it and the being held accountable that's the important thing. And that's why I will always offer a 3-month 100% return on investment guarantee, because you should get results very quickly. So how quickly should you get a positive return on investment through working with a business coach? Basically, it should be very quick, and you should have a 100% return on investment cash guarantee to back that up. And basically that's how it works. So I hope you found that interesting and useful. And my name's Bernard Keevy, and if you're interested in finding out more information, I should have written this up here but I haven't, but my website is bernardkeevy.com, which is Bernard and then Keevy, Keavy.com. Thank you very much for watching.